Hey, legend. Fraser Brooks here, coming at you with episode 115 of the Network Marketing Ninja podcast. I hope you're well, safe, secure, and all that. And today I'm really excited because I'm going to be sharing with you a topic which is super simple when I actually say it, but so many people overcomplicate it, and that is simply how to be yourself. Now, I know some of you guys maybe have already tuned out thinking, oh yeah, I know how to be. Everyone keeps saying be authentic, be real, be you. I'm like, yeah, I get it. So why aren't you doing it? So I want to actually share with you kind of 5 tactical steps or 5 steps for you to kind of write down and pay attention to so that you can work towards showing up 100% as yourself. Now, some of you don't have a problem with this. Some of you do have a problem with this. Some of you aren't being yourself. Some of you are being someone who you think you need to be in order to get popularity, influence, followers, and all the rest of it. So let's kind of get into it. Now, before I do get into it, please know that if you're watching this in the first couple of weeks of this episode going live, then we have the Success Summit Online 2 coming up on the 30th of April, 1st of May, and 2nd of May. And if you want to get your tickets with the insanely incredible 5 bonuses that we're doing, which I still can't believe we're doing, just go over to successsummit.info. That's successsummit.info. I know there's a lot of S's in there and I've got a slight lisp, so it's like right? Alright, so here we go. How do we do it? So first and foremost, when I really understood this and started to turn up as myself, and it was only about 2 years ago that I 4 or 5 years ago, I was turning up thinking I was being myself, but no. It was about 2.5 years ago that I really turned up as myself. I was vulnerable. I was being a little bit wacky, a little bit, like the high energy and all. And before that, I wasn't. So I want you, if you've got a piece of paper and a pen, please make notes of this. And if you haven't, because you're driving or you're cleaning or you're at work, naughty, or you're traveling, whatever, then make sure you come back to this episode to write these down and pay attention to which level you feel that you're at. All right. So level 1 is appreciate and admire what makes you unique, right? Appreciate and admire what makes you unique. So I want you to kind of get a piece of paper and pen when you've written this down and write down 5 things that makes you you. And you know what? You don't even have to stop at 5. Just keep going and going and going and going. What are the things that make you you that other people might have, but when they combine them all together, it makes it you? Right? Yes, you could be a little bit of vodka and a little bit of Coca-Cola. So you're a vodka Coke. But what happens if you have a little bit of vodka, a little bit of Coca-Cola, a little bit of martini, a little bit of Jack Daniels, a little bit of, cherry Coke if that's still going, a little bit of lemonade. Yeah, you're going to be absolutely hammered if you drink that. So I don't advise that. But what I mean is every drink's a little bit different. A little bit of this, a little bit of that is different to a measure of this and a measure of that and a measure, okay? So I know a bit of a weird analogy. So appreciate and admire what really makes you you. So unique. So for me, I would say, and again, I have to really kind of think about it, to be honest, because I'm just kind of doing this whilst I'm saying it. I've not got my piece of paper written down in front of me. But high energy, relatable potentially, network marketing, professional, social media, humorous. Again, it's very weird writing things about yourself, but hey, it's about you. No one else is going to see it apart from you. That's why me saying it out loud is a little bit weird, right? Because there are different things on my list that maybe I want to keep to myself. Okay? So it sounds weird me saying that after saying like you got to be real and raw and authentic, but you can kind of keep some stuff to yourself. So write that down and appreciate, am I actually showing what I've written down to the world? Because if the answer is no, you're not then being yourself, are you? Because if you've got on there that you are flipping out, I'm going to make that one, that you like, I've got to be kind of careful with some of the stuff that I say. But if you've got on there that you absolutely adore Formula One racing, and you're not talking about it, then are you really being yourself? Or are you talking about things that you feel that you need to talk about in order to get sales, customers, followers? No. You need to stop that. You need to really make sure you write this list down and ask yourself, am I showing up this way? All right, so level 2. This is a big one, and a lot of people stop at this one, is quit comparing yourself to others. Just because someone in your company is absolutely crushing it by being a fashion blogger or a fashion influencer or always talking about makeup or always talking about health and fitness, it doesn't mean that you have to do the same thing too to have the same level of success. You might have even more success. You might even have the same amount of success with a different niche or a different thing that you love about you, that you like to talk about. So you need to stop thinking about, if I kept comparing myself to, let's use this, right? He's a dear friend of mine. I get the chance to speak to him very often now, and obviously see him all over the world, is Eric Warwick. And I mention him a lot because he's a friend, and he's someone that I believe all of you will probably know or get to know. And if I compared myself to him and tried to be like him and what he teaches in order for me to be accepted by the millions instead of a million, right? Then I would lose. Why? Because I'd want to try and dress like him. I'd want to try and talk like him. I want to try and train like him. And that is not me. That is not me. So a lot of the lives that I do, I've got maybe like a t-shirt or a polo on. I might put a shirt if I'm feeling daring, right? Whereas he might be wearing, a proper stiff collar shirt and a fancy jacket with a fancy watch. That's his brand. That's not mine. Okay? Maybe his style of training is long, like 3-4 hour, 5 hour trainings, which is a lot of story, mindset theory, whereas I like the whole how to. He does a lot of that too, right? And then mine's high energy. He's more like you could listen to him for hours, right? I suppose you could listen to me for hours if you're listening on this podcast and you're 115 episodes long, right? So we're different. We're so different. But if I tried to compare myself and be like him, I would not be where I am today. And so many people are trying to copycat instead of being an original version. The original versions are worth way more than the copycat versions. Think about books. If you could get your hands on an original copy of The Lord of the Rings, what's going to be more valuable? The original copy of The Lord of the Rings or a copy you can just pick up from Amazon today? The original copy. Original is always going to win. Same with social media. If you copy someone's post, it will never get the same amount of reach as the original post, right? Simply because it's already being posted and they know that you're copying it from someone else. Okay? Same with energy level. A lot of people try and sound like me, be like me out there. And I'm just going to tell you, I appreciate the effort, but it won't work for you because people will see right through it. Okay, so level 1, appreciate and admire what makes you unique. Number 2, quit comparing yourself to other people. Stop trying to be like other people. Number 3, know that fitting in is overrated. Know that fitting in is overrated. So what do I mean by this? If you feel that you have an opinion or a view on something that you believe to be true, and I'm going to have a little side note on this, I would not, if it comes to social media, include race, religion, or politics. Now, yes, if that's your brand, then go for it. But what I've found over the years, I have seen people destroy their brand by being very polarizing, right? By saying no, like for example, let's take Grant Cardone for example. One of the reasons why he became well known is because he was like, owning your home is stupid, right? He might not say it quite like that, but owning your home is silly. You should rent the home you live in and you should buy the homes that you rent out, which is actually extremely valuable. But not a lot of people talk about that and say that. If he was to come out and then talk about his opinions on race, his opinions on religion, and his opinion on politics, he would lose a massive amount of fans. The people who didn't like him in the first place would hate him, and the people who did like him in the first place, a percentage of those will then be like, ugh, right? So when it comes to know that fitting in is overrated, you want to think and you need to kind of talk about the things that maybe you believe in and other people aren't, right? So let's say you are you're going to talk about makeup, or you're going to talk about travel, you're going to talk about skincare, you're going to talk about fashion, right? Let's say you're going to talk about food, okay? And instead of like doing, well, everyone says I've got to, in order to lose weight, you need to count your calories and do more. Come up with your way. Come up with a way that you believe in that's not just going to fit into the norm, and go down that route, right? Because if you just try and fit in, you weren't born to fit in. You were born custom made, right? And what do I mean by that? You weren't born to just say what everyone else is saying, do what everyone else is doing, because then you're not different. Then you don't stand out. And I know that every single one of you listening to this, you have a viewpoint on something that you believe to be true and it doesn't get talked about. And it might not come to mind right now, but Here we go. Here's a good one. And I struggle with this, and maybe some of you guys can relate to this. But let's say you're in a group of people. Some of them you know, some of them you don't know. And maybe there's 10 of you. You're one of the 10. And someone comes on and talks about the Game of Thrones, right? You're talking about the Game of Thrones TV show. And maybe everyone's like, oh, it's amazing. And you're sitting there. And again, this is not a TV show that I've just chosen off the top of my head. And you're sitting there thinking, I don't get it. Like, I just don't get it. Are you the type of person who doesn't say that you don't get it? Or are you the type of person who says, you know what, guys, I just don't get it? And you've got to really understand that and appreciate that. And if you are the type who's like, you know what, guys, I don't get it, you've got to show that. You've got to show that to the world. You've got to be able to say, hey, you know what, I totally see where you're coming from, but like, nah, it's not for me. And I am the person who would just be like, yeah, it's all right, yeah, it's quite cool. I've not really watched it all, but it's all right. Why? Because I didn't want to lose friends. I was a people pleaser. Rob Sperry and I usually joke around saying we were covering people pleasers, right? We were trying to get over, you know what, like, we're always trying to please people, but in reality, it ain't winning you any favors. So when it comes to kind of knowing that fitting in is overrated, if you have an opinion, speak it. A lot of people follow a lot of people because they just speak the truth, right? There's no BS. It's just the truth. It's just straight. It's just direct. It's just to the point. And you need to get into that as well if you feel that that is your style. But here's the thing. If you don't, if you just say like, yeah, I know what you mean, or like, yeah, I suppose you're right, you'll have no backbone in the social media world. You need that social media backbone, right? So that's that, right? Number 4 is listen to your intuition. Listen in and feel, do I feel like that's on my mind? I feel that's what I need to talk about. Go talk about it. A lot of the things that I do on the podcast, on my YouTube channel, Facebook Lives, I don't plan them months in advance. A lot of people think I do. A lot of people think, and it's funny because I'm looking at my 365-day calendar in front of me, right? And it's huge. It's like an what's that? A4, A5, A6, I think it's like no, it can't be A7, it's the other way, right? A4, A3, A2, A1. I think it's A0, and maybe A0. It's massive, so I can see exactly what's going on. I don't plan out like what I'm going to be doing. Why? Because I just need to feel what I'm going to talk about. And today, I woke up and I was on Instagram stories, and a friend of mine, Emily Vavre, shout out to Emily Vavre, she's amazing, at it's Emily on Instagram. She posted this kind of graphic about how to be yourself, and it made me think like, wow, that's such a great way to break it down. And I felt I've got to do a podcast on this. I have to do a podcast on this. So listen to your intuition. If you feel it, if you feel that you should be talking about it, do it. If you don't. Unless you're building a brand and you understand that polarizing views will help in some cases. But if you've got a huge brand, try and stay away from polarized views unless you know that polarized view will strengthen your following. It's okay. I'm going to say something here. Write it down, quote me on it, whatever. It's okay to lose a load of followers if you're going to strengthen the support of the raving fans. I'll say it again. It's okay to lose a load of followers if it's only going to strengthen the support of the raving fans, right? Now, I know that might contradict of what I said previous about the whole, don't talk about race, religion, politics. That is something that you will never, ever know if you're going to win or lose that battle. And you should never go into that conversation thinking you're going to win or lose when it's talking about race, religion, politics. That's just my belief. Some people might differ. Now, before I go into the 5th one, and the 5th one is actually the one that I don't see people doing at all, and it's very important. I just want to mention, I'm going to give a shout out to the Subscriber of the Week. Subscriber of the Week gets $50 sent to their PayPal address. So all you got to do is leave a 5-star rating and review, or screenshot what's on your device right now. It should be the Network Marketing Ninja Podcast artwork, and then post it onto your Instagram or Facebook stories and tag me at Fraser Brooks. And I massively appreciate each and every single one of you who do that. We are currently on 1,142 5-star ratings and reviews. Would you believe it? So, the winner of this week's Subscribe of the Week, before we go into the tip 5 of how to be yourself, is the real Gian Petty. The real Gian Petty, United States of America. Best MLM podcast, 5 stars. Fraser does an outstanding job supporting this industry in the most modern way, yet keeping the fundamentals the fundamentals. I love it. Well, I love you too, Gianna. If you could do me a massive favor, if you could message me on Instagram or send an email to info@fraserbrooks.com, just letting us know that you were a subscriber of the week for episode 115, then me and my team can get that $50 sent over to you in your PayPal. All right. So, in closing, let's go on to point number 5. Point number 5 is share your unfiltered self with the world. This is what you aren't doing. You're not turning up on social media and being you. Can you watch yourself back? Here's one, right? Here's one for you. This was the moment that, and I don't think I've ever shared this story. This was the moment, it was about 2.5 years ago, actually. It was the back end of 2000. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I'm trying to think of the actual date of the live. But I remember I never watched myself back. Whether it's a keynote, a Facebook Live, Instagram Live, YouTube video, I just don't watch myself back. I just cringe. And it was about 2.5 years ago, and I got sent the footage of a keynote talk that I did in front of about 2,000 people, and I watched the whole thing, and I was dying of laughter. And it was weird because Svetlana was like, "What are you watching?" I said, "Myself," and she was like, "Okay." And when I said that, I actually laughed myself because I was like, "That feels really, really weird." I'm laughing at myself, but I was laughing because I realized, oh my days, this is me. This that I'm watching right now is exactly who I am. And it was from that moment onwards that I truly believe that every time I did a live, every time I pressed go, every time I went on stage, every time I was recording, every time whatever, I was actually being me. And it was so weird to think that. And it's because I just showed up. I showed up as myself. I used the words that I wanted to use. I used my body how I wanted. I used the tonality as I wanted. I used the humor that I wanted. There was like no holds barred. Now, some of you might be thinking, oh, what about swear words? Like, hey, if swearing is a part of your brand, then you're going to attract people who also like that. You're going to repel people who don't like that, but that's part of building your brand. What I would say is I wouldn't overuse swear words. If you're mentioning a swear word every sentence, it's just not needed. If you need to drop it in to emphasize a point, then fair enough, if that's you. I mean, I almost never swear. If I do, I use like a really, really, really a word that maybe not even known as a swear word. It's just like it's a casual word, right? So yeah, anyway. So to reiterate, to summarize. Number 1, appreciate and admire what makes you unique. Make sure you write that list of things that would be your own personality cocktail. Circle the things that you're absolutely going to share with the world, okay? Number 2, quit comparing yourself to other people. Big one. Number 3, know that fitting in is overrated, for sure. Number 4, listen to your intuition. And number 5, share your unfiltered self with the world. All right? I hope you got value from that. If you did, please do me a massive favor. Help me share awareness and raise awareness of this podcast by taking a screenshot of what's on your device right now and posting it onto your Instagram and Facebook stories. I'd massively appreciate it. I appreciate you guys. Love to you all. And I look forward to seeing you on episode 116 coming up real soon. All right. Bye-bye.